Hi, this is Ed McCarthy, CEO of Echelon Performance. Welcome back to Coaching Sidebar. Our guest today is the founder and CEO of LeadX, an organization with a mission to spark the next 100 million leaders through the use of AI-powered leadership coaching. He is also the host of the LeadX Leadership Podcast, a Forbes columnist, and a New York Times bestselling author of 9 books, including 15 Secrets Successful People Know About Time Management, and his latest, Great Leaders Have No Rules, Contrarian Leadership Principles to Transform Your Business and Your Team. If you don't know him by now, that's a shame on you. He is Kevin Kruse. Kevin, welcome back. It's good to see you again.
Ed, yeah, nice. We got, this is the cleanup episode, huh?
This is it. Yeah, it's game 4, man. We're going to go out with some glory here. I told you, we were talking before earlier today, and I had said that I'm terrible when it comes to technology. You're way ahead of me. One of my favorite filing systems is my email. I tend to save things just by not opening them, or open them and then resave them as unread. And I have had an unread email in my inbox since February 24th. It is that day's edition of your newsletter. And I wanted to spend just a couple of minutes talking about it because I think I read it and I was like, oh, like you encapsulated the last 25 years of my life in a single newsletter. And I'm going to let you dive into it. But essentially what you were saying is that the role of leadership development, the people who are responsible for growing this generation, the next generation of managers and leaders and coaches, we need to evolve a little bit and need to see our world a little bit differently. And I'm just going to tee you up to hit that one down the fairway.
Well, that newsletter, it's talking about this shift that all of us who want to do leadership development, soft skills development, et cetera, need to become more like guides on the side. And I want to, the origin of that, in my role, I probably speak to 5 to 10 heads of leadership development every week, constantly. And I was talking to someone who's currently still working in the legendary Crotonville training center. It used to be, big building, lots of classroom stuff. And she, like us, has been in the L&D space for decades. And she said, geez, it's quaint now, but it wasn't that long ago when training was about big binders. Everything was a workshop. Every workshop had a big binder. There was the facilitator kit. There was the participant manual. There was the slides. And I'm old enough, Ed, where everything was a 5-day workshop. Whatever you want to learn, fly into this place, on a Monday morning, you fly out Friday, and it was fun. You slept over, you went out to dinner. It was 5 days. Yeah. Then something kind of happened, and it was 2 or 3 days. Then it was a 1-day workshop. Now it's 1 or 2 hour webinar, shrink. And she was pointing out that before, now she blames or credits, depending on your perspective, the smartphone. So before smartphones, it was kind of hard to get that knowledge. Oh, I want to become more agile. I want to be a better coach, whatever that is. You needed to find a book, the right book. Maybe you're not a reader. You needed to find a workshop, the right workshop. Maybe there's books on tape. But people in the training profession, L&D professionals, you're really in the content business. Let me find the competency model. Let me find the frameworks. Let me package it up and then deliver it to you. Yep. And she said, now we're inundated in the palm of our hand, 2 clicks away, videos, books, book summaries, articles, HBR, whatever you want, it's in the palm of your hand. And at the same time, so people are kind of trained for this on-demand, quick bite, TikTok or whatever, Instagram Reels. Everyone's trained to consume it differently, but also now hybrid work, everybody crazy busy. Everyone wants it in the flow of work. We went from 5 days to 1 day to 2-hour webinars to I'm not even going to show up if it's a 2-hour webinar. I just don't have the time. And so she said, look, how do we reimagine our role? We got to pick a framework. Do you want the grow coaching model or the ACE up model or the whatever the model is? But it's now about how can we give people the resource they need at the moment they need it? How can we answer their questions? How can we be their guide on the side, on this journey? And I just say and this gets to be a little meta, but it's yes, L&D professionals need to take a coach approach. What we're really trying to do is change people's behaviors. And so why wouldn't we, use a coach approach for managers who we're trying to get to take a coach approach, right? So it doesn't make sense to say, all right, Ed, you're a manager. You really need to be coaching your people, not just answering their questions. So here's what you're going to do. Here's the answer to how to be a coach. Read this book. We're done. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
I just thought that was brilliant. And of course, that's really one of the primary themes. We call them talk tracks at LeadX. It's like, hey, it's not that learning is wrong. It's that learning is insufficient by itself for behavior change. We all know this. It's the knowing doing gap. We spend billions of dollars a year helping people to know how to coach, know how to sell, know all these things, and they don't do it. The knowing doing gap. And so, sure, let's start with some learning. But how do we do the things that coaches would do? How do we do mindset shifts? How do we let people practice? How do we make sure they're applying it, reflecting on it? So there's all these other things that should really be happening if we truly want to affect behavior change.
Yeah. That's really, you sparked so many different thoughts in my head. One of them was back in the day, climbing through the catering office of some Marriott in Arizona looking for my workbooks for the next day.
Good times, Ed. Good times.
So good. I was a trained professional. I'm so glad I had my training. But the other one is this, a lot of, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in my experience, a lot of training needs are determined by the thoughts, the impulses of senior leadership.
Yeah.
And we need to get our people better at this. Or, we just got this survey back from customers and we need to do more of this. We need to train them on that. And that in and of itself leads to content management, right? Here's the need, right? My boss's boss told me I need to have a training on this. So there's the need. So I need to get content that fits that need. But I'm going to put it to you. Like you use a phrase that I am really growing to love, and it's in the flow of work.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to do that as a leadership development person, I really need to understand a manager's flow of work, don't I?
Oh, yeah.
How do I do that?
Well, I think the best things are always co-developed. So if someone in L&D, leadership development, is not familiar, if they haven't been in that role or whatever, I think that's where you work with ambassadors and colleagues to figure out, like, what is your flow of work? Where are your points of need? Why are you not holding higher quality coaching conversations? And it doesn't, not everything has to be a high-tech solution. Is it that I need that job aid of the criteria of a good coaching conversation, right there on paper when I do it? Is it that I need someone to check in with me every Monday morning to remind me to take a coach approach today before I go out on my ride-alongs or whatever it is? There's different things that can be done, but I think we need to really understand the job and the needs of the individual if we're going to support them. And that's the other thing, Ed, is like, unfortunately, it can take time, right? So if you were my coach and this was our first phone call, and I say, I want to get better at time management, whatever it might be, you're going to really take a long time to explore who I am, what my role is, what my goals are, how big is the gap, what does good look like, what are my challenges? When I say time management, what does that mean? Does that mean email? Does it mean my calendar? Does it mean got a minute meetings? Like, it takes a lot to really understand where someone is, what the gap is, and it takes time to help them, navigate that path. And so I just think it should be the same approach for especially anything that's soft skill related.
Yeah, it's really it's a truly different way of thinking. It's a different way of approaching learning and approaching development. In the newsletter, you had 3 courses, I'll say, or 3 pathways that organization, or 3. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but have we covered them all? What were the 3, and could we tie it up nicely with those 3 pathways?
Yeah. So, Ed, the way I would talk about it, because I like to see that there's flexibility, but we talk all the time about a 3-to-1 approach. And so all we mean is, again, back to learning is necessary, but insufficient. So instead of just, let's say we want to people to become better coaches. Instead of just thinking about, oh, we are going to teach them grow coaching as an example. That's the one. And most people put 80% of their time designing that course, or 80% of their budget buying resources for that course, 80% of their mental power on that course. They're not really thinking about the pull through, the application, the habit formation. And so we say flip that around. The one is the learning, yes. But then what about the application? And that's where you should have at least 3 activities. So very often companies are doing like a topic a month. So we're like, look, fine, week 1 can be learn about it. But then, maybe week 2 is the self-assessment. That's awareness. Okay, where am I strong? Where am I weak when it comes to coaching? Or what's my natural coaching style? Is it pull or is it push? Self-awareness and mindset and motivation to get better. How good a job am I doing? Then some practice. Okay, Kevin, you learn the grow model, you know where you're strong, where you need to work. This week, go out and grow coach, 3 of your colleagues, 3 of your team members. Practice it, try it. And then a reflection period is often the third thing. Again, classic coaching thing. Okay, you've learned about this thing, you've had some self-insights, you've practiced it. Red light, green light, yellow light. What's going well? What did you take away? How did you benefit? What questions do you have? What didn't go so well? And ideally, like real world, it's like, okay, I get grow coaching, but how do you do it in a remote environment? How do you do it with someone who's antagonistic to you? How do you do it based on people's different disc type or insights color, energies? And so this is the idea of, okay, sure, there's the learning, that's the one, but always have at least 3 follow-on things that can be used to help them form a habit. Self-awareness, practice, and reflection are kind of anchor ones, but you can use a whole lot of others as well.
Yeah. And I think one of those things, when it comes to application, that, flipping the script or the 3-to-1 ratio, it really is powerful, because I think what you're really doing is you're setting the foundation for purposeful practice, right? If I go out and I am really focused on my application or my own ability and my own self-assessment, I will come back to that place again and again, right? It's not going to be, I checked the box and I filled in that PDF and I'm done. It's like, wait, no, that was really beneficial to have that deeper understanding, to have that application. And for me to be able to come through and to see the progress and to see myself grow in that, is way more powerful than anything in a binder or, in the workbook back in the day, right? This is my real life. This is my everyday. And this is me in it. Just adding that almost in the moment perspective to what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Really powerful.
That's great. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm glad I saved that email for this. I can't thank you enough. My guest today in the last 4 episodes has been Kevin Kruse. He is the CEO of LeadX, an organization with an audacious mission and one that I support, to spark 100 million leaders through the use of AI-powered leadership coaching. If you haven't read any of his books, shame on you. They are available everywhere and they are fantastic. A true voice in leadership. I can't thank you enough, Kevin. It's been an absolute pleasure to share this time.
Well, Ed, thanks for all the work that you're doing, and thanks for the opportunity to put the spotlight on this conversation.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.